We're going to continue our media availability this afternoon with Ryan Newman, driver of number 39 Aspen Dental Chevrolet. Ryan, currently 15th in points with 1 win, 2 races to the chase. Talk a little bit about these next 2 races and your team's mindset going into specifically this weekend here at Atlanta.
I think for us the absolute mindset is to focus on the racing part of it and know that these next 2 races are going to be what proves what we're capable of in the next 10. If we can't get what we need to done in these 2 races, then as Stewart said a few years ago, we'd be just taking up a spot in the championship chase. So from our standpoint, it's really just business as usual, doing our job to get the best finishing position we can. There's no extra risk, I don't think you could say. This is here, especially at Atlanta, seems to be a racetrack where things get spread out a little bit. You end up with 10 cars on the lead lap, that type of thing. So having a good race car here is extremely important, probably more important than Richmond.
All right, we're going to start with Ed, and then we'll come up to Ben White. Okay.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Ryan, what's your take, especially from the standpoint of an engineer, on the new zone tire, the tread that they're bringing in? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think that there's definitely a common sense approach to it that they're using, and it's something that they've been working on, and I've been a part of testing it several times at different racetracks, and here at Atlanta, it's the best worst case scenario for that, because it is the toughest track that we have on tires, and the strength of that zone tread tire is the durability side of it, and the biggest part of the durability side of what we do is the inside shoulder of the right front tire. So I think that all that being said, I hope that there are no issues, but the reason that they're doing that is so that there won't be any issues, because this new car is definitely the most challenging we've had on tire durability.
All right, let's go to Ben.
Ryan, Ben White with Lexington Dispatch. I'm not really referring to your current situation with Tony, but looking back to say when you went from Penske to Tony Stewart, and you tell your crew guys that, okay, I'm leaving to go to another team. How do you keep that momentum up until the end of the season is over with?
Quite honestly, those guys did that for me, because after the announcement was made in Loudon, we didn't know, obviously. I mean, our goal was and still is to make the chase, but they rebounded for all of us and performed in Indianapolis the way we all needed to and the way that we've been capable of all year. And that was the answer to your question. I mean, they said we're not quitting. We're going to fight till the end. The end is the checkered flag at Homestead.
All right, let's go to George in the yellow right here. And then we'll come up to Bob and David up front.
Yeah, Ryan, George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. A little bit along the same lines. You're obviously fighting to make the chase, and next season remains unsettled. Is it difficult to kind of compartmentalize the two and keep the focus on this year as opposed to thinking about what may happen next year?
I wouldn't say it's difficult. I would say it's more of a challenge, because you have to, as you said, compartmentalize and stay focused at different times on different subjects. All that being said, it does take away, your relaxing time, I guess, in your mind, which is probably as important as being focused on what you need to at a given time, whether it's 2013 or 2014. So I feel like I'm capable of doing that and have been, and basically have been in that situation for the last 12 months, so it really hasn't changed for me. So I think I've honed my skills over the last 12 months to be in the right position right now.
All right, let's go to Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Are you any more confident that you'll have a Cup ride next year now compared to maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago? And then also, I was curious if you watched the press conference on Tuesday, and kind of what did you laugh? Did you cry? Did you throw anything, or what did you think?
No, I did not watch it. I have only read about and seen the quotes from different individuals, and to me, it's it's a unique situation that to me doesn't really affect me, as I'd said. In the end, it's what they're going to do in 2014. I already knew I wasn't going to be a part of that. Yeah, I do feel more confident to answer the first part of your question that I'm moving along. I have nothing obviously to announce, but my focus is on these next 2 races. I do have a different focus, as we talked about, on 2014, but that won't happen this weekend, or that won't happen next week, and that'll happen during the week.
All right, let's come up front here to David Caravello.
Gotcha. David Caravello, NASCAR.com. In about 45 minutes or so, Ganassi's probably going to announce that Kyle Larson's going to be in the 42 car next year. As a guy whose background isn't completely dissimilar, I mean, how do you think his background compares him for getting in a Cup car, or prepares him for getting in a Cup car?
I think no matter if it was Chip Ganassi or Roger Penske or Tony Stewart or whoever, they would have went to Kyle and said, Kyle, do you think you're ready for this? And there's a part of a driver that has to take that responsibility in saying yes or no. And I think that Kyle has definitely proven across the board that he can drive absolutely anything, anywhere, anytime. And there's a few drivers out there that can do that. And when I say a few, I mean there's 20 or 30, I think, that are that good. But I think that no matter what announcement there is, that in the end we all know Kyle has a lot of talent. I think the biggest challenge he's going to have ahead of him is not what happens outside of this room; it's what happens inside of this room, and the media part of it, the publicity part of it, the potential pressure if you let it get to you is more of a challenge, I think, than sitting in the seat behind the wheel and doing your job as a driver.
All right, we're going to go to Woody, and then we'll end up here with Claire. You can get a microphone right there to Woody. Thank you.
Woody came with MRN. Ryan, can you just describe the intensity that a lot of guys are going to feel next week in that Richmond race, the guys all right around the bubble trying to make it or not, and how that's different from every other week? I mean, I know you guys say a race is a race, but, man, that's got to have a little bit of something extra to it.
It does, and to me, I guess maybe I kind of view it as watching golf on TV, where you watch, you know where the leader is, you see the leaderboard, you know where you're at starting the race, and you got maybe the last round to make up, and you see where guys are plus or minus, and you kind of keep track of that under cautions. But when the green flag drops, you've got your job to do, and that's just like swinging the club. And I'm no golfer, but I see it as that, where it kind of doesn't go necessarily play by play, but event by event, of who's on what hole, how much does he have left, where are we at in the race, who's good on fuel, and things like that. So you kind of watch that, but in the end, as a driver, you're still focused on hitting your marks, and not screwing up, and not taking yourself out. So I guess to me that was the first thing that came to mind when you asked the question of I'm not a huge golf fan, but I've watched enough golf on TV to know that that's kind of how the mental and the physical part of it works.
All right, let's take our last question here from Claire.
Claire Beelang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. How different is it now in the garage looking for a ride than it was when you first came in? Once you established your name.
I didn't have to look. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I came into this garage with a great ride, and obviously a great organization with great people, and we proved that. Proved that out of the box. Winning a pole in my second race and a top 5 in my third race. I mean, it came not easy, but it just came. There was a lot of hard work involved, but that's why I can't say it was easy. But in the end, I can't answer that because I know it's not easy now, and that's why going back to a kid like Kyle Larson, if you have a good opportunity like that, it's hard to say no, and that's the bottom line.
You would think performance, you win at Indy, performance is good, that would assure you of something. Do you feel like the next couple of races will, that it's on the races themselves?
I think yes, it's on. There's no doubt it's on. Indianapolis helped and all that stuff, but I think if you look at my history of the sport in the last 10 years, I've got a good resume on and off the racetrack, and I think that there are sponsors and car owners that appreciate that.
All right, Ryan, thank you for your time. Best
Thank you.
of luck this weekend.